Cool. I like that. Good. Okay. Very nice. So let's copy this table over because I definitely need that in here. Terraforming scales, and then pop value marker. And then to do, we're going to add change population from numbers to relative values. Yeah, that works better. Is protection an XP option? No. I mean, you're just protecting your own interest, which is to say your influence. Rad. Okay, cool. Yeah, and then Vagrant can become legitimate pirates. So each faction gets a goal action. Can you change your goal between turns? It's stuck until you choose it like an action, right? Yeah. And usually it kicks things off. All right, so let's change out. I want to jump to another subset. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut these and I'm going to place them down here because I have something else I want to work on first while we're kind of in the middle of this. So I'll show you what I mean. So what I want to do is start with expand the sector. Okay. So let's delete this row and put it up here. All right. So this is drive space. I guess this is expand sector. Mechanical result is adding a new row or column to the map. Okay. What kind of XP do you see for goals that make the sector better? I don't, it's bad game design to think about better or worse. It's about something else. It's about qualitative values, or quantitative, not qualitative values. Also number 74. Yes, I know. It's me too. Okay. So the trick will be the problem is with the math, you can't expand above. So you have to pick either right or down. We can't actually expand backwards because we can't go into the negatives. This isn't really the middle of the map. I don't know. Maybe it is. We'll figure it out. But the point here is that, yeah, maybe this is stellar cartography. No, this is, let's call this one Final Frontier. And then here we go. Narrative result, new space to expand to. But the idea is it's a blank. So the success on this one, the reward is add a blank line to either add a blank row or column to the Acheron row map. That's it. That's all it does. It's going to be very difficult, and that's how it is. So we'll start there, right? And it'll add a new layer to the map. And I don't know, maybe it'll be anywhere. Maybe you pick north, south, east, or west. Maybe we can only do east or south, right? I don't know. We'll just call it quirks of drive space, but I'll get the spreadsheet team to look at this. By the way, can I just say, I'm so happy to be able to say, I'll have the spreadsheet team look at it. Like, thank you for caring enough about this game that there is such a thing. So, okay. All right. So the prerequisites are going to be that you own a drive space probe asset. Guess what we need to do? Make a new asset. Drive space probe. Will there be worlds? No, they're empty by default. We'll get to that. Be patient. Okay. So the drive space probe. And I think this is the same. I think it's a TL4. It's a special asset. Type, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it's the same. Maybe it's special, right? Attack, none. Counter, none, obviously. All you have to do is build it and launch it. And that's it, right? So we'll talk about that in a second. So drive space, you own a drive space probe, and then own a base of influence on an appropriate border planet. So you need to have a base of influence on the edge wherever you want to expand, right? You have to launch from Staklaku or Kama or Eos or Man or Gleipnir, I guess. But basically you have to have a base on the edge of the universe that you want to launch from. And then we launch out in there into drive space, and we try to discover a new locale. So you got to buy the thing, and then you have to own a base of influence on the appropriate border planet, and then you need to take the final frontier goal action. I think the probe can be a ship if you want. Like, I don't really care. You can narrate and describe it however you want. Because then Pixis can be like, it's a lone explorer, and Prism can be like, it's an algorithm we launched into space. The probe will be very expensive. Yeah. So drive space probe, very expensive, probably like less expensive, depending. We'll see, but we'll get there. So there's that. How does this interact with unorthodox pilots is a question, right? Moves itself. Oh, that's right. It can move an additional hex. Okay. Well, whatever. We don't need to worry about that right now. That's people. Okay. So you build the probe. You have a place to launch it from. You launch it and you take the action. And then I think the danger is the asset fails to find new space. Danger is loss of cost, right? That's it. So what I think happens is, again, we're going to load some of the rules into the asset itself. When launched, this asset moves into a new type of location. Drive space frontier. Yeah. While in drive space frontier, I guess it'll be drive space frontier X, where X is northwest, south, or east. So while in drive space frontier, at the end of each of the launching, no, at the end of each of, yeah, at the end of each of the launching factions turns, roll a D10 on a, like an 8+. On an 8+, the asset is destroyed and a new row or column is added to the map. And a new blank row or column is added to the map. What's that, a 1? I kind of want it to be a 10. I want this to be really hard. So yeah, let's do 10. On a 10, the asset is destroyed, new blank row or column is added to the map. On a 1 to 3, the asset finds nothing and is destroyed. If within 3 turns, the asset has not rolled a 10, it is destroyed. Having discovered nothing. Something like that. Yeah. Do stats modify it? No, I think it's pure luck. There might be room, but I kind of want it to be anybody can do it. Yeah, and I think the real thing here is it's going to cost a lot, and then you have to stage it and launch it, right? And then I think in the same way, this asset we can move it around like a terraforming seed, or rather, like yeah, I want it to be able to move, but yeah, there might be an explorer tag. Exactly, someone could build one of those. Yeah. Okay. I think that's fine for right now. We'll adjust this according to feedback once I get everybody to kind of get their eyes on it. Okay, cool. Does it just roll automatically? No. Yeah, it does it on its own. Yeah, once you launch it, it's out there just boom, boom, like searching the universe and trying to build up a new row. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, automated drive space probe. It just flies out there looking for shit and sends home information. Maybe it finds something. It has 3 chances to get a 10 once each turn. So this probe, haha, there you go. This probe would discover it, right? Let's launch another probe. Ah, that probe didn't find anything. Let's launch another one. There you go. Yeah, okay. Cool. Yeah. So when it succeeds, it just self-destructs. Yes, then that's a good point. On a 10, yeah, well, I got it. On a 10, the asset is destroyed and a new blank row or column. Can there be a table in the middle ground for unwanted effects on the probe? No, I want the probe to be a set it and forget it, right? You just launch it and you leave it and see what happens. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the plan. Okay, cool. Build it, launch it, see what happens. If we send enough probes, we find Asgard Sigma. Yeah, sure. Okay, so cool. I like that one. That seems like fun. All right. Then once we've added new space, we can start doing things like discover system. So here's how we do this one. So what are we gonna call this one? Like, I mean, yeah, if everybody just focuses on this, the map is gonna be a whole lot of nothing. Why does it explode? It just runs out of batteries. Like, I don't know. It has a limited amount of fuel, lore-wise. But, like, eventually the universe will be stuff in the middle and then nothing outside, right? It'll just be empty. So, yeah, okay, we could expand it, but, like, great. You got to go and find shit out there. So let's call this one. So this is about discovering specific systems. So this one is the does a border system cease to be a border system when we add a row beside it? Yes, that's right. Oh, and then the benefit is you gain experience. Benefit to everybody, but that's it. Yeah, planetary survey. I think let's call it drive space survey. Yeah. Okay. So you discover a system. So the prerequisites are control an have a base of influence adjacent to the choose a target hex that currently contains no planet. Yeah. Okay. Have all the hexes been currently surveyed? No. Yeah, like we could theoretically add worlds to these hexes. Yeah, definitely. So you pick a target hex. Maybe drive space probe is also necessary for this. But I like drive space probing just for like deep. Yeah. I want this to be separate of that asset. Okay, so choose a target hex that currently contains no planetary object. An empty hex. Let's just, you know what? Choose a target hex. We know what an empty hex is. That is empty. That's easy. Okay. After one expansion, it stalls because there's no border systems. Exactly. You have to find one. BOI and 2 hexes that have the target hex in their path. Maybe. It's the number of... NBF42 knows exactly what I'm doing. The chances of success are lower if it's adjacent to other... Smart. We're on the same page here. Okay. Choose a target hex that is empty. I guess we could do like a surveyor probe as a separate asset. Let's try that. Surveyor probe. Let's try it that way and we'll see what happens. Okay. So... own a surveyor probe asset. Surveyors are for a different thing. Yeah, I want this to be different. So let's call it a survey probe instead, so that it doesn't get confused. Let's call it a seductor probe, right? Like, all right, choose a target hex that is empty and adjacent, and within 2 hexes of the survey probe. I guess this is the task. Yeah, one of them comes back as V'ger. Uh-oh. The whales, though. All right, own a survey probe. What else is a prereq? Nothing? Like, you have to use one? Essentially, the reward here is a random new planet is generated in the hex in the target hex. Having them within 2 means we should do it within 3 hexes. Right? Because then it's like here, 1, 2, 3. You could do it there. Possibility of multiple planets. Yeah, we generate a new sector. Yeah, so I think that's the thing here. A random new populated hex is generated. Like I don't know, populated. Like basically, you just discover a new planet, and it might have people on it and whatever, and we'll just have to fit it in. They're like lost worlds, or other colonies or whatever. Yeah. Okay. A random new populated hex is generated by the target hex. Yeah, random new populated system. Yeah, there you go. That's what they're called. A system is a collection of planets. Yeah. A random new system is generated in the target hex. Gain 2 XP. I think that's it, right? But it's pretty damn cool. The hex could need no adjacent populated hexes. I mean, I want them to be able to. Yeah, I want them to be there, but let's see. Choose a target hex within 3 hexes of the survey probe, and then the survey probe should be expensive and have a chance to fail in the same way. So I guess you need to take the, what do we call it? Drive space survey. Goal action. And then you need to roll the D10. I guess follow the instructions, right? It'll just do it on its own. So the probe will try to discover it. And I want this to be like fucking difficult. So when launched, this asset moves into a new type of location. Drive space frontier. I guess we'll just put here. Let's do this. Drive space. While in drive space, at the end of each of the launching faction's turn. Yeah, so same way. This asset moves into a new type of location. Drive space. While in drive space, at the end of each, and I want this to be really, really difficult. Is there a way to make sure a system will stay empty? No, just get there. As soon as you discover it, pour a bunch of people on it. I'll launch. This asset moves to different couple of on drive space. The end of each of the factions turn rolls a D10. On a 10, the asset is destroyed and a new system is added to the target hex. I think in this case, I want it to be pretty hard. So let's increase the difficulty of the probe to on a 1 to 6, nothing happens and it's destroyed. It has 3 chances to not get a 1 to 6. What if they failed? It can't be tried again. Nah, because I think it's okay to let them keep trying if we make it very difficult. So let me see. How long before we try to plan it? So we get to roll 3d10. So this one would get destroyed on the second round. Let's try again. Same thing. It took us 3 probes to find it, but how about this? Let's do this. It's a 1 to 6, but it doesn't get destroyed. So how about just roll a d10. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and no, there will, if I can help it, there'll never be an NPC faction. Ever. Period. I want this to be... Oh, you think the survey... Okay, so how about that? If on a 10, the asset's destroyed and a system is added. If within 3 turns it has not rolled a 10, it's destroyed, having discovered a whole lot of nothing. The hex in question... No, but we can still discover hexes, like, we can discover planets inside. I don't know if we want to... Nah, because then I have to track which hexes are empty forever or not. So, on a 10, the asset is destroyed and a system is turned. On a 1 to 5, the asset is destroyed. On a 10, yeah, I think that makes sense. Let's do that. Very expensive. less than a deep space probe, but more likely to find nothing because I think the thing is that the universe is mostly empty, right? So you might have to launch, I want you to launch several probes. Yeah, you just spam it, but the thing is it takes so long, right? Like, okay, on a 1 to 6, it's destroyed. Let's see if we can get a planet. So probe number 1, destroyed on the first turn. Probe number 2, same. You kind of have to get a D10. You kind of need to get a 10 on the first roll in this case, right? If we do it that way. And you have to spend a turn buying one every time. Okay, let's reduce the number. Let's say 1 to 3, it's destroyed. Let's try that. Okay, toast. And I'm rolling really bad. Toast. Not destroyed on the first turn. Holy Christ. All right, well, there's no planets out there. I want this to be a painstaking process because then we can adjust using tags and stuff like that, right? Basically, don't ever buy them. Hey, there we go. I mean, it's not about not ever buying them. You can buy them and use them on the same turn. They don't take another turn to use, right? Because it's like, buy the probe, use it at the end of your turn during the drive space survey goal action, right? Yeah, and I like that. I think for now, obviously, I'll make a note here. Check the numbers on drive space probes versus cost and investment. Yeah, and then we can adjust with tags and stuff, right? So if you're going to take a tag that is Deep Space Explorers, it might get you a reroll. Or why would you do a different hex? I don't know. Why? Like, I don't understand. Well, like, my goal here isn't to force the map out. I don't care about that, right? If this just leads to this map getting much more dense, so be it, right? I don't really care. More stuff to fight over. Because remember, this is just a really limited imagining of what a non-spatial, 4-dimensional, semi-psychic, interconnected highway of planets looks like. This isn't real. This map is not a real map. It's just a way to get our stupid brain around how this stuff is already functioned, which leads me nicely into my next one of moving planets, quote unquote. So, okay, anyway, the danger is wasted turn economy, wasted fact creds. That's it. You're just exploring. It can be a waste of money and time. You find nothing. Yeah, I like that. I think that's good. Okay. All right. So next up, alter system location. I really want to call this drive space doesn't work like that, but let's call this cartography. This is my stellar cartography, right? Moving a map. So moving a planet. Oh yeah, and then the other thing was there was a number. Yeah, we wanted to increase or decrease. I forgot about that based on if there are more hexes next to it. So for this one, how do we modify that? A +1 bonus to the roll if there's no hex within. For this roll, add +1 for each unoccupied hex adjacent. But that's pretty. Oh, you know what? We can increase this to 12 on a D10, so you actually can't do it if. Considering you're letting other people take decisions for the faction turn, I don't know if a wasted turn is interesting. It is, because you're not defending yourself. You're not doing anything else. That's a good point. Okay, for this roll, reduce the 1 to 3 result by -1 for each empty hex, for each 2 empty hexes. Something like that. Rounded down. So if it's adjacent to 4 empty hexes, it only blows up on a 1. If it's surrounded by empty hexes, it won't blow up on its own. Something like that. Yeah, because then it's either -1, -2, or -3 total. So if you fired it off right here, it would get 1. It would get a -1 on the self-destruction. But if you put it here, it's got a -3. It won't self-destruct. So you have 3 shots at getting that 10. Cool. No, that's elegant. I like that. That's a good like reducing the potential damage and increasing the, yeah. Okay, cool. Wasted fat creds, wasted gold turn economy, right? Etc. It costs time and money. Yeah. If you make non-existing hexes not count, I do. And yeah, sorry, I got to change that back. So, obviously non-existing hexes don't count. So if you put it here, it's getting a 1. But if you expand into an empty hex, it's going to get 1, 2, 3, right? Or 1, 2 at least. Yeah. I was thinking starting with destroyed on a 1 to 9, reduce it by 1. That's another thing we could do. So the other version of this, on a 1 to 9, the asset is destroyed. For this roll, reduce the 1 to 9 result by -1 for each empty hex adjacent. So obviously we got to check the math on all this. So alternately, one to 3. Now, I think this is easier. I like this one. I'm not even going to posit that other one. So now, in that case, trying to go here, it would be 1 to 9, 8, 7, 6 on a 1 to 6. So now, if we try to build next to Imperial Prime, if we try to discover a system in 504, we got to get a 10 without getting any 1s through 6s. No. This is a very challenging thing to do, as you can see. Near impossible, in fact, which is good. That's what we want. Okay, yeah, I think that fits. And that makes sense, right? Because there's less gravity, less interference. Why didn't we discover this already? Yeah, okay, perfect. That's good. So adding to the Imperial core means wasting more probes, but probing the outer reaches. Yeah, okay, cool. I kind of want here. I have a thought. Using this probe, survey probe, on a hex adjacent to the Guild Dyson sphere, demands a roll on the Guild interference table. Each turn, the probe is active. Each time the asset is active. I warned you. I warned you. You stay away from them. Cool. Okay. Does lodestone have a special effect on the probe as it moves on the map? No. No. You can't do this and not expect us to do it. I promise you that they're not all good things. But if you want to, sure. I might just change your assets randomly or change your stats or whatever. On a 1, the show is canceled. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a big wacky. This is our wild magic table. Some things might be good, some things might be bad, but if you try to probe the sphere, that's what you get. This is guild territory, right? I love it. Okay, cool. So let's put that on there and we will continue. Does lodestone get displaced if the probe finds a system in the hex that it's in? You can't target the hex that lodestone is in with a probe. The probe will it's an invalid action. So like if you're trying to launch a probe into 905 and you have an order where you launch the probe, then lodestone moves into that hex, I think the probe is just destroyed. Yeah. So a probe in a hex that becomes occupied during the faction turn by a system object is immediately destroyed. Just gets run over by lodestone. But if lodestone has an order to move and we discover a planet here, lodestone's move bounces. They can't go there, right? Yeah. Cool. Okay, good. Let's finish with stellar cartography and then we'll go from there. So I think to move your planet, you have to have a base of influence on the target planet. Because what we're really doing is you're not moving the planet. You are just adjusting the map accordingly. We haven't tested ramming into occupied systems. You can't. They can't co-locate. Have a base of influence on the target planet that you are trying to move. I think you also have to have planetary government of a TL5 planet. Doesn't have to be the same planet. So you have to have the technology to do it. It's removing a system. You can't move planets on their own. So this is lodestoning, right? Stellar cartography, aka doing the lodestone. Lodestone can do this for free whenever they want, but if you want to do stellar cartography, if you want to lodestone your own planet, such as trying to get it to dip and escape, that's true. Yeah, base of influence on all system worlds. Yeah, there you go. Because you're moving the system, right? So all target system planets. Okay, yeah. So you gotta have a base of influence on all of those. A planetary government on a tech level 5 planet. And then there's a task. Ooh, I think the danger is catastrophic failure removes the system and everything in it from the map for a number of turns. We fuck, we lost Imperial Prime. It's not there anymore, and it should be, and now it isn't. Oh dear. And so it disappears. If you really fuck this up, your planet and all the assets on it are cut off from the rest of the universe. Are you immune to attack? Only from outside. Inside, I think stuff can still happen on its own, but yeah, I think Prime and Maya. Exactly. Yeah, but that's a catastrophic failure. So I think there's a role here to alter the map, a cartography role. So spend X fact creds. Can factions still move between planets in the system? Yeah, I think so. I think it just cuts that hex off, but you can still make orders inside the hex. Yeah, definitely. Because they're not frozen, right? And theoretically, you might want to like dip your world out of existence to defend yourself. I think altering the maps is a thing you might want to do. Yeah. I think it should also be very difficult. Spend X fact creds. Spend X fact creds and then make a roll. But I don't think it's based on the number of fact creds. It's called like risk X fact creds. Nah, because you won't get them back. So spend, let's say like, what's a big amount per planet? Maybe minus the tech level of those planets. An influence prerequisite? Well, because you don't have to control the populace. You control where you're controlling the maps, right? This is the kind of thing that Pixis and Vela could use as a weapon, theoretically, right? I think it's based on the tech level of the planet because you have to use the planets. Yeah, okay. So let's say 10 fact creds per planet in the system. Maybe 20. 20 fact creds per planet in the system. Minus something like if this should be easier to do if you're tech level 5. Politicians will lobby against that. Well, I mean, Yeah, I guess the reason here is, and again, don't think about it as lore. Mechanisms dictate the lore, not the other way around. So if we say you have to have influence, it means you have to get everyone on board, which I don't think you can do. I don't think that's the plan. So I don't care about the politics of this. I think you can just do it. It's not like they vote where a planet can go. Can it be contested? Yeah, I don't know. 30 creds divide by TL. I mean, that would be only 6 fact creds. I want it to be minimum of like 10, right? So spend. No, but they don't have to. It's not a political decision. It's not an influence decision. I think what you're saying here is like, I want influence to be more important, but it's not. Not in this case. So spend fact creds. I don't know how much. Some amount. Based on number of planets. Some decently large amount based on the number of planets minus TL influence, something like that. Minus TL, maybe with an influence-based discount. There you go. So maybe it's not a prerequisite. Maybe it's if you have control over the influence, people are more likely to accept the new maps. Ooh, oh, check this out. So maybe with an influence-based discount for total influence, not planetary. So this would be less expensive for Pixis, Trilliant, Fornax than it would be for the Democratic Mandate, Seraph, or Triangulum. Yeah, that seems cool. That's a good split between those two. Okay, so minus TL present in the system. Something like that. Spend fact creds and then spend XP, because I want this, like maybe spend 1 XP or something, or maybe like 2 XP, some small amount just to be allowed to do it. And then roll a D10. Yeah, that's good. Minus highest tech level in the system. Something like that. We'll figure that out. Okay. Spend 2 XP, roll a D10 on a like 7+ success. Why would the TL influence? You're changing the map because everyone shares the same maps. So if Eridanus says, we have new maps, everybody, more people are likely to accept it than if Lyra says, hey, we have new maps, everybody. Only 2.5% of the people are going to be like, yay, Lyran maps. Yeah, I think that's good. And we haven't used sector-wide as a thing yet. So I'll work on that math. Okay, spend 2 XP on a 7+. The system. Oh, and you also have to take the action, right? So take the stellar cartography goal action. Spend the fact cred, spend the XP. The system is moved up to 1 hex into an adjacent empty hex. On a 1. An adjacent empty hex. On a 1. Do we think the 1 means you roll on a catastrophe table? Roll on the drive space catastrophe table, which would be another table. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so that means I need to create, where's my to-do list? Here we go. Create chaos table, terraforming mishaps table, and I'm gonna actually change this to the populous chaos table. Yeah, there we go. That's better because it's not just general chaos. So chaos table. Let's replace with population in chaos table. There we go. Done. And then, yeah, the drive space catastrophe table. There we go. Okay. Cool. And then if you succeed, I guess danger here is failure is dangerous. Wasted fact creds and XP. Right? Those are the danger. And then rewards, system is moved. Gain 2 XP. Maybe more, 4 XP. I don't know. I want it to be like, yeah, I want a net gain because you have to spend 2. So gain 4 and system is moved. I'm going to change this to reassigned because nothing is moving. Nothing. Here we go. Okay, cool. Ugh, all right. So we've been at this for, 2.25, 2.5 hours. And I think rather than push on, which I could do, I'm going to give my brain a little bit of a break. 2 hours is about as much as I can handle of doing this. We're going to do one more and we're going to finish the rest of these. But I think we made a ton of really good progress today. So thank you everybody for coming and for helping out. This is much, much easier to do when I can say an idea out loud and have people react to it. And even if you were trying to drive me in a particular direction, that's okay because I have a group that will look this over from as neutral a possible viewpoint. So yeah, I think the framework is really strongly worked out. T-Rex Illy, the Met Council will not get access to the table until it's full. So I'm going to do one more stream. We're going to turn this over. I'm going to make sure I do that stream before the end of this month. So we'll do one more stream. We'll finish this table. I'll turn that over to the group and then we'll finalize both influence and goals. And if we're really, really good at this, I think by the end of February, if we're really good at it, but definitely by the end of March, we'll be able to roll this out to everybody. And that is pretty fucking cool. Yeah. So yeah, user required. We're going to look in the future at questline goals, right? One thing that leads to another. And I've done a little bit of these. Everything's on pause right now, but we'll look at that. We'll look at like progress goals that you have to do a couple of times. But I think we're starting to do some really neat stuff with this system. And it's starting to feel like expanding on what is possible in the game in a really cool way. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of time and a lot of work. So we're going to continue on that. And we will continue to bash away at it. And I think it's really putting us in a position where the Verona faction turn reflects my hopes for it. And I've said before, and I know that there are members of the community and of the mods that are going to help me with this, but once this is done, we're going to start taking a look at redesigning the faction, like other stuff in the faction turn, right? We're going to look at assets. We're going to look at stats. We're going to start doing some of that stuff. My ultimate goal is at the end of all of this stuff, by the time we are done with all this business, we can create a PDF and we can put it out there for people to download so they can replicate the entire Verona faction experience themselves. We'll have essays by members of the community. We'll have rules. We'll have graphic design. We'll have art. I want it to be a full supplement. And I think that'll be fucking awesome as an artifact for the completion of all this work. Returns. Yeah. Welcome so thank you for your assistance. Thanks for helping me out on this. If you're not already, if you watch this and you're like, what in the hell is going on? Well, you can find out more by going to patreon.com/rollplay and join that at any level. Jump in the Discord, join a faction, do the whole thing. Christoph, Lady May, everybody else who subscribed or resubscribed during the stream, thank you so much. I am done for now, but we will see you again soon. Thank you for coming, everybody. Good shapes. Good shapes, everybody.